Here we are, once again, for another sort of episode. Just of the Levelution podcast, sharing my thoughts and opinions, even though nobody asked. But, that's not why I'm here. I'm here to express an opinion, put my thoughts out there. Why the heck not? Everyone should have a podcast, even me. So, this week, it's going to be kind of different. Usually I have I try and do sort of free flow, not too pressurized, not trying to be extreme prepared. Mostly because I don't have the time, but I will be making time because I'm going to do this every 2 weeks, so it's going to be a much better show, I feel like. So this week, of course, we're going to be diving just head deep into this whole Warcraft 3 debacle. I mean, I don't know what it is lately, but it doesn't seem like Blizzard could take 2 steps without just incurring the wrath of the of the video game fandom, whether it's different shenanigans. But yeah, this one hits sort of close to home, but not going to sort of bury lead here. So the first thing is just a short announcement, which no one cares about, but I'm going to be moving this to a bi-weekly thing, like I said before. In any case, so the first thing today is like any sort of interesting sort of small news. Nothing much really. Just the usual stuff. I don't think there's anything big. I think the big news cycle this week in terms of video game news is Warcraft Reforged, and and we're definitely going to get into that. But I'm going to talk about the games that I've been playing this week on streaming. The games I'm streaming this week, and this game is one of the games is Planet Zoo. It's something that I wanted to get into. I'm not a huge sort of animal sort of lover per se. It's just that I do enjoy reptiles especially. I do like animals, so I played Zoo Tycoon back in the day, so this was definitely forthcoming to get on with. I played the tutorial, which is basically just you're in charge of this. Embarrassingly, I had a bit of a problem with the camera controls. Just sort of getting used to zooming in, zooming out, turning the camera around, right mouse button. It's not that intuitive. I felt like I played 3D games that are sort of better, but I think it's mostly due to the fact that I'm just not used to it yet, and sort of when I get used to the camera controls, it's going to become like second nature, like any other game. It's just like I felt a little bit self-conscious while streaming, and I was just sort of like constantly fussing with the camera and trying to move around. I felt as if the tutorial was very good. I felt like it really told you all the bit of information. It was well designed, super interactive, which is always good. Easier for these types of management games to sort of say like click this, do this, because it's exactly what you need to know. But I thought it was like structured in an interesting way. It's got that classic British humour. It's like Theme Hospital-esque, more sort of eccentric type characters. So I really sort of got into that. In terms of rotation, I'm going to be playing this Zoo Tycoon. I'm going to be playing it in this slot. So this time next week, I'll be playing more Zoo Tycoon. It's got the kind of the same sort of feel as 2 Point Hospital, where you got 3 sort of levels to go through. So I think that's going to be quite enjoyable. So definitely looking out for that. The thing I really wanted to talk about was Foundation, and boy did I run into a foot-long wall. I didn't even see this coming. Basically what happened is that I expanded, but my food production is not where it should be. The markets I have is not where it should be, and so it's left everyone extremely unhappy. I think I went from 75 to minus, not even -4, like -40, -48 is where I ended up. There was a little happy face. Terrible. I couldn't believe how bad it's gone. So I've done some research. I've done a little bit of thinking because I'm going to be streaming this on Friday. So I'm going to try and turn this back around. Because I was thinking like maybe I should just, start a new village, take the lessons that I've learned, and just do a sort of better job at making sure that everyone has access to what they need, so that when you expand, you don't have to worry about the same people. But I thought, no, I'm going to try and turn this around. So I've been looking at some possible strategies. One thing I'm looking at is getting rid of a lot of the granaries and a lot of the warehouses, because I kind of feel as if they're not that important, they're not being used, and it's just a lot of waste of resources, maintenance, and I think it's like you could put something else there, sort of thing. So I'm going to be looking at that. I'm going to be looking more. I'm going to be trying to figure out how to make food distribution better. Also, moving. A part of the problem is that if your market tenders live far away from the market, then that's a problem because they don't restock and everything. So I'm going to look at that. There's a lot of directions to go in, so I'm definitely going to be looking at all that on Friday, and hopefully I can rescue this project. And yeah, if I can get this turned around, then I'll be very excited for starting a new sort of village, because then I know exactly what I need to be doing in terms of distribution. But unfortunately, I didn't do quite so well with that. Prison Architect, I got nothing much to say about it. I'm going to be streaming it tomorrow. It's just basically improving the 500 max prison. Just trying to make sure that everything is as good as we can get it. Because at the end, I did kind of rush just to put down enough beds and walls just so I can get up to 500. So I wasn't really thinking about everything else. Oh jeez. This is bad. Anyway, so in terms of Prison Architect, I think I outlined it last week about all the stuff I can do to make it to go on. Unfortunately, when I tried to stream it on another day, it was just like my internet connection was just so bad that there was so much pixelation and tearing that I couldn't continue. Also, I was super ill last week. If you could notice something, if you're listening to this back and you're listening to any videos before this, you might hear me coughing and spluttering and whatnot. So I think I've gotten over that cold now, so I'm feeling so much better. It's like it takes a little bit of period of illness to realize how good it is to feel healthy. Actually, I'm going to back away from that, but anyway, I am no longer sick, and I feel great. Alright, so with that out of the way, it's time to talk about Warcraft 3 Reforged. Now, I guess the place to start is my own history with the video game. Now, I played Warcraft 2. My brother had it, and so, whenever I could, I would get onto his computer, even though I wasn't allowed, and I would play a bit of Warcraft 2. It was a fantastic campaign. I followed Warcraft 3 for literally the longest time. I felt like this game was never going to come out, and I can remember not having quite enough to buy it straight away, so I went to the old bank of mum and dad, and they managed to get that for me. And I remember my dad looking at the box, which of course had a Thrall on it. I'll just type in cover here. Yeah, so it's basically you got Thrall here, and he's just like, my dad looked at it, so I was like, "Oh, should you be playing that game, son? It doesn't look too Christian." But I'm like, no, you're the good guy, sort of. Don't judge a book by its cover and everything. But it was but like I said, it's just one of those games that really sort of changed the way I looked at video games. You know, it was a real time. It was real time strategy, but not real time strategy as sort of I understood it. Because you know, I was used to playing like games like Command and Conquer, and Warcraft 2, of course, Starcraft, of course. There are a lot of Age of Empires as well, which is kind of different. This is kind of different type of strategy game. But this one, you know, I think what I noticed most about this one is the sort of like, it's now because usually in strategy games, I use a strategy called sort of like turtling, where it's sort of like you just focus on defense, you build up your forces to a massive degree, and then you just spread out, and then you can attack, and you have reserves and stuff like that. And I feel like that's the best way to play real-time strategy games, is to sort of build up your strength and then attack, rather than sort of trying rushing into things. But I found with Warcraft 3 that I couldn't quite play like that. It's like, to me, it felt like you're doing two things. You were looking after your hero, trying to get him leveled up, and you were sort of building up your base as well. So it's like and I think I've saw in a video somewhere where someone actually went into this, where it was actually part of the design philosophy to try and make players stay outside of their bases and focus on the micro. And when you look at competitive games now, and trust me, people still play this game competitively. And well, basically it's split into macro and micro in the way that you play the game, where part of half the game is leveling up your hero, and the other part of the game is building up your bases so that you can support the hero. And then using both the hero and the support from it, you can win the game and everything like that. So I felt like that was the new thing. Hello original OG over in D Life. I am fine. I'm doing a little deep dive on Warcraft 3, just talking about my memories of it, and basically the bad things I'm hearing about it today. So, but yeah, I'm just like going over the sort of history of it, and it was just like such a huge game. So moving 10 years, moving years and years down the line. Oh, okay, one sec. Turn up my microphone a little bit. Okay. So yeah, so basically, I was just like going over like Warcraft 3 as it was, which was such a good game, and then we sort of fast forward. Oh yeah, I guarantee if you like real-time strategy games, I think Warcraft 3 is like one of those entry type games. So like if you're trying to convince someone to try out RTSs or base builders games, then I think Warcraft 3 is a very awesome entry game. But I would buy stick with the old version and not Reforged, from what I'm hearing about. Because yeah, so if we fast forward literally like 17 years, 17 years, it's they announced Reforged. Now, my first sort of taste of Reforged was sort of like I think another game. I think I saw like a clip from BlizzCon when it first came out. And just have a see if I can find the launch announcement trailer. But yeah, so I saw this clip in BlizzCon, and I was just sort of like, I was kind of like, wow, that's awesome, and that's awesome for a few reasons. The reason I thought that the game, that this was such a great development, was number one, I love Warcraft 3, and this would be a perfect excuse to sort of dig it out and replay it. Number two, I watch a lot of streamers and a lot of YouTube channels where they still play Warcraft 3, and I was thinking to myself, this is great for them, because that's going to put a lot more attention on their channels and get them some more subscribers. And you know, I think they deserve it, because they're just, you know, they're such real good at the game, and like, you know, admire that. So I was very happy that this was coming out. And the third reason is there's a chance that there could be a Warcraft 4. So, because it's like they might be using this to gauge interest. Let's have a look. Now, as it was coming up to close to release, I was like seeing some sort of gameplay footage, and I think it leaked. And I remember sort of like being sort of underwhelmed by the style. And let me just go to this video. This is from Nick9330, and he put together this comparison of Reforged versus Classic, and I think there's a lot of videos like this, but this is just the one I've seen, and I was impressed with the sort of modelling and the face icons, but I was sort of underwhelmed by like the whole composition of it, because like if you look here, you can see, I'm just gonna pause here, you can see like sort of the detail and the vibrancy, the bold colours. It's got its own sort of style. Like, I'm not gonna say it's timeless, because it's not. This isn't like Kirby's Epic Yarn or Cuphead, where that's going to be absolutely timeless. People are going to be playing this in like 20, 30 years. They're going to be playing Cuphead and Kirby Epic Yarn, and they're still going to say it looks fantastic and it's amazing what they're able to achieve. It's just a great piece. I mean, this is sort of like in a time capsule, because the 3D models aren't perfect. And like I said, I think the models look good. It's just that I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to be too harsh on it, because I know people worked really hard on it. I mean, even not having the sort of let me just go back to that. Yeah, not even having this sort of like border, it kind of makes it feel a bit unfinished. But like I said, that's just a design choice, and I don't want to go too much into that. But I don't know, I felt underwhelmed, and people were like saying like it wasn't finished yet, and so when it comes out, it's going to be, it's going to look so much better, it's going to look so much polished, and unfortunately that didn't happen. Now, there are so many sort of videos on YouTube that sort of show how people weren't too happy with it. I guess the example I want to show, like, we're gonna. It's sort of like the sort of reviews that I found. Like, you can find this anywhere on Metacritic, but I like the sort of the Google reviews as hell. 2,172 ratings, and it's a 1.3. Now, people can talk about like review bombing and like unfairness, but I think this kind of shows like enthusiasm for. Sorry, let me turn this down. Yeah, enthusiasm for what they believe in. So like, if there was like a huge momentum of people who are very pleased by the video game, and they just wanted to sort of play it, and then they enjoyed it, then you're going to see a lot more 4s, 3s, and 5s. But you see a lot of people are upset. Now, I understand that there are people that are unhappy with Activision Blizzard in general, and it's just that you can't deny people. So I'm just looking at a few of this, and so this is probably the reason why I didn't go out and pre-order the game, is because I kind of had the inkling that it's just sort of like they're going to sort of force people to update it. Because if you play Crusader Kings 2 now and you log in, well, you don't log in, you just boot up the game, you get an advert for Crusader Kings 3, which is, to my opinion, it kind of makes the place look untidy, but but yeah, so that was my first inkling of it, where they're sort of like, that's the first thing I heard about it. It's like people who download Reforged or try to update their original Warcraft, they were having problems because of the Reforged one. So I was like, at that point, I was kind of like, well, maybe not, maybe not somehow. Another thing that I heard straight away was the whole thing with the world editor. Now, this has been covered to death, so like I guarantee, I do say, like, if you're interested more in sort of like what the terms and conditions of the world editor and everything, the quartering, other video game YouTubers have sort of covered that. But what I want to say about it is the world editor was, it was sort of the lifeblood of the game. I mean, I loved the campaigns. The campaigns were absolutely amazing. It was great in terms of like the writing, the performances, the cutscenes, the gameplay. It all worked. Like Warcraft 3 is like one of those games that really feels like just a labor of love, where like a bunch of talented people got together and they came up with something great, and that's something that's extremely rare. Now, part of the longevity of Warcraft 3 is 100% due to the map maker, the world editor. It was great in Warcraft 2 because you can make your own campaigns, you can make your own games. Like I said, one of my creations, which I don't think is hugely original, but what we did, we put like a bunch of farms on an island, and it was a completely total naval map. And so it was just like all you had was ships and oil, and then like the farms were at the main base. So like if you destroyed the farms, you could take down the naval. Anyway, it was like a navy-driven map. My point is that the map editor was so versatile. Like I didn't even crack the surface of my imagination. So let me show you some things that people were doing with the map editor. So you got Warcraft 3, first person shooter. Why not? Yeah. So this is like a first person shooter. By the way, it's my favorite channel's Witty Warcraft. So it was just like, this is a first person shooter made in Warcraft. This is a Warcraft map, and someone made a first person shooter. And I've seen loads of different types of games. I mean, look at this. And I've seen someone make a platformer in this game. The point of the matter is that Warcraft 3 map editor is probably one of the most accessible game dev kits ever. Like, you can't tell someone to go on Unreal or Gary's Mod and make a game and just go on there and just have fun. It's difficult. There's a learning curve to these things. Everyone has the aptitude for it. But something about World Editor really unlocks people's creativity. And I don't think it's any accident that both Dota and Tower Defense was really popularized by Warcraft. Now, my memories of the Dota game. I played mainly I think it was like Dota 4 point something. Like I got into it like almost, I would say sort of late. But one of my memories of it is sort of like not being able to play it for ages. Like I kept getting kicked from the game because I didn't have the map. And when I finally got into the game, it changed everything. Because I remember I played as a tank. That was my one, and I was used to go on the top lane, and I used to do quite well. I used to have support, but it was pretty good. Like it was like one of those it's a new game design's been born. It's just like it's Dune 2. It's combined a bunch of stuff to make something new. And coming down to like the Warcraft 3 terms of service, where terms and conditions for map editor, where it's saying that basically that all your creativity belongs to Warcraft. So you've probably seen this. If you're following the Warcraft 3 story at all, you've probably seen this already. The intellectual property of your map belongs to Blizzard, not you, and they are not required to compensate you in any way if they use it. Copyright material is not allowed in any custom maps. Any content deemed inappropriate by Blizzard can be removed at their discretion. There you go. So I think this is basically a summary. I mean, you can read through the terms and conditions yourself if you want to dive in there, but yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's a bit weird. Yeah, they can't develop custom. Anyway, so basically, I think everyone has its sus where it's sort of like they lost Dota, they lost the MOBA thing. But here's the thing: there's no guarantee that even if they had this in place back when, that they would use it, they would market it, they would take the risks that other developers have to really, like League of Legends. You know, that they had to take risks, they had to do their own work. You know, Blizzard was focused on being Blizzard. This would have been put on the back burner. I mean, we've seen Blizzard try new other things, like the adventure games and stuff like that, and it didn't always work out because, you know, it wasn't suited. So I think it's, you know, I think the idea of, like, really sort of, like, trying to clamp down on this always has the opposite effect. And it's like, I can understand, like I said, I can understand from their perspective what they're thinking, but it's not going to get the results they are desiring. Because obviously, in their mind, they're like, okay, we're going to relaunch this. Some creative people are going to be inspired. They're going to create a new game genre, and we are going to profit from that. And we don't even have to. We'll change it a bit, and we can just cut him out the picture. And to say that up front in a time where people have never been more connected, never been where people, you know, there are people that go through policies and announcements and stuff like that with a fine-tooth comb, and then they will tell others about it. And this is extremely bad because it's sort of like, why would you even want to try anything at any point if they're just going to delete it, if they're going to, like, clamp down on it? And if you do make something good, we're going to cut you out. I mean, like I said, that may not be what they're intending. Like, say someone creates the next Dota, maybe they give that guy a job, maybe they give him a team or something, maybe they use it. But the fact of the matter is, that's not the way they presented it. That's not the way it's going to look to anyone. It's going to look like they're a heartless corporation that just wants to use and abuse their fan base. And it's just like, you got passion for our game, you want to create something, you feel inspired. Well, that belongs to us, son. And, you know, there's nothing you can do about it. And that's really unfortunate because, you know, that doesn't engineer creativity. They're just going to go somewhere else. You know, what they should have done, they should go to the model that Unreal Engine has, or RPG Maker has, or something like that, where it's sort of like, understand that what they're doing with World Editor is a platform. And if people want to create using that platform, that's all good for them. I mean, I'd be proud if a new game came out there, but it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate to say the least. Now, going back to, like, the comparisons and everything, and it's just like, I don't want to bag on it too much, but it's just, I don't know. And of course, people reporting bugs and other technical problems, which, you know, let's face it, it's a tale as old as time. They rushed the game out. What was that all about? Anyway, you know, it's an absolute shame. It's an absolute shame. It's just kind of unfortunate because you just kind of think, how do you even mess this up? How do you even do this so badly? With the fact that you are now apologizing and you're offering refunds, which signals to me that I should stay far away from this game in its current form, and I am, and I will be doing that because I don't pre-order stuff in general. I used to pre-order a lot, and I used to do a lot of Steam Greenlight. I used to get a lot of stuff off Steam Greenlight. Regretted it. Regretted that. So so I'm very sort of careful now in that sense. So basically, it's a No Man's Sky situation where they pushed this game out unfinished, and they're going to sort of build up later. I mean, let's let's be honest. I mean, everyone wants to be Fallout 76. Just treat your customers with contempt. Give them a shoddy product, and then sort of apologize afterwards. It kind of annoys me because it's like, like I said, whoever's working at Warcraft 3 now, I don't think they can come up with another Warcraft 3. I think the people who are, I feel the same way as I feel about BioWare. I feel like the talented people have gone. They're all gone. You know what I mean? All the people that had the passion, who created those great games, are gone. And I don't understand why people think that corporations are like this infinite sort of being, where it's not made up of extremely talented, not built on the backs of extremely talented people with a passion for making video games. And the people, the producers here, the designers, the writers, who allowed their teams and the people under them to sort of, express themselves in the modeling, express themselves in their voice acting, express themselves in the music they composed, and worked hard on it. And it's just so annoying to see it sort of squandered by a little bunch of people who didn't take it seriously enough. They probably thought, we'll do some graphics, we'll put out a few cinematics, we'll slap on this and that, and then we'll push it out, people will buy it, and there you go. And it will be just as good as Warcraft 3 because we didn't put any work into it. And it's just like the height of hubris, where it's sort of like, oh, we own this product here. This is the product that spawned tower defense. This is the product that spawned the MOBAs. This is what changed RTSs. This is, and we're going to use that. We're going to make some money, and there you go. But no, it's not that easy, is it? It's not that easy to be creative. It's not that easy to create something as great as Warcraft 3. And I hope they learn that lesson. I hope whoever's at Activision Blizzard, I hope they learn a lesson from this. Because it's just like, in England, we if you're into football, there's this thing called there's an analogy that I use called it's an open goal. You have the opportunity, by whatever means, a mistake by someone else, it was you're the right guy in the right place, and you've had the ball at your feet. All you have to do is put it in the back of the net, and these guys missed. They missed hard. This was bad miss. This went clean over the bar, or on the bar and back into their face. Because let me tell you something. People aren't going to come back. There's this whole thing where it's like, okay, we're going to survive. But no, this hurts a lot of companies. And it's just, it doesn't... And it's like, a mistake like this is sort of like a huge blow. And it's just like... Because if they say, we're going to bring back Diablo, we're going to bring back StarCraft, we're going to bring back this, what am I going to do? I wasn't into World of Warcraft. I don't care about, WoW Classic. One of a few people. I don't care. I cared about this, and now it's I don't know. I mean, I hate to end the podcast on a sad note, but it's like, yeah, who would have thought Warcraft 3 Reforged ending on an apology after silence and banning people for asking for telling people how to ask for refunds. It's just, I don't know, it's just a sad state of affairs in the AAA industry, where it feels like Rockstar is the closest thing to a proper game developer that we can all look up to and trust in. I mean, I was going to go through a comparison, go through some takes, see how I feel, and I'm just depressed. I'm depressed. I'm not getting younger. I'm not going to be able to experience every video game. And, being able to go back to this would have been great. Can you imagine? And now they've ruined it, almost. Because they pushed out too early. They didn't have enough respect for it. I mean, they say they do, but they really don't. Respect isn't about words. It's about actions. You know, you can say whatever you like, but did you put the effort in? Did you put the consideration in? Did you ask the people who know best? No, they don't need to. It's just a job to these guys. That's what happens when it always happens. A developer strikes it big, they get huge, and then they can coast. And this is coasting. And saying like we're gonna fix this in patch. Didn't work for cats. Hey. I'm not, like I said, I don't know. I was so full of energy and promise for this, and it just wasn't. It just really seemed to have failed. And yeah, and I've got nothing more to add to that. I guess I'm still hopeful that maybe they can fix it. I mean, not for me. Like I said, I'm not interested in this game anymore. I'm talking about the people who have spent money on it, who are still playing it, who are, you know, fighting through the bugs or sort of like have the hope. I hope that they get what they're looking for. I hope they get a product they can be happy with. But man,